it's been a while for me, but I'm going to go back home in December, and all of my relatives are going to start asking me about crypto, right?
Yep.
Chiefly, the classic one is, what should I buy?
Yep.
Right? Like, I guarantee you, with Trump coming in and all this pro crypto news kind of circulating, Andreessen in the mix,
Yeah.
I'm going to get these questions, and I haven't quite figured out exactly what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, go ahead, Corbin.
Well, the mature thing is to just not say anything, right? It's to do the old, I don't make recommendations because I can't control your money. And you know what? Like, the way I watch my money, I care about it more because it's my money. Your money, frankly, I don't care about. Like, so it's up to you to care about it. And if you're not watching the charts and living in this stuff, it's pretty volatile.
That's
but
what I
with that
said.
being said,
well, I haven't
Bitcoin
burned
is
any
fine.
bridges, because that's what I said the past 2 cycles.
Well, if you've
I
got
think
like
I
a
might
degenerate
change it
cousin
now
or like
a little
uncle
bit.
that's like, a raging alcoholic, and you can tell this guy plays the slots. I mean, like, they know. As long as you tell them, hey, look, man, this could go to zero. If you want the risk on bets, sure, we got some, there's some stuff you could buy. It's just, are you willing to play? Are you going to watch it? Are you going to sell it when it rips? Or if it doesn't rip, are you going to cry about it? Don't come to me if it doesn't do the thing that I think it might do. But, like, good luck.
Welcome back to Token Narratives, where we cover the hottest narratives in the crypto, Bitcoin and crypto world. We're in a studio. We're in an actual studio. My name's Graham. We got David here, the Gigabrain news lead, and calling in from his bunker in an undisclosed location. We have the Bitcoin.com CEO, Corbin Fraser. Welcome, sir.
Hey, guys.
All right. So let's start off with a gut check. We were flirting with 100K this time last week. We dropped about 8%, but bounced aggressively. So are we back? Are we still on for 100K by the end of the year? What's happening?
Sorry, guys, I was muted. I kind of think I think we're on track. We still got another month of cooking, right? I mean, like, I think there was like a brief minute of like, was that it? Like, you had that kind of like, oh, that was a nice little retrace. But overall, I think it's still very bullish for Bitcoin. It's not like the ETFs are slowing down. It's not like the game theory is changing from these, like, nation states trying to gobble up all of the Bitcoin liquidity for whatever reserves they've got and front run, US buying or other countries buying or whoever. So yeah, I mean, game on, and as far as I can tell.
So you think you'd wager that 100K's in by end of year?
Look, man, I had it pegged at like end of the year at like 88K. That was kind of my ballpark. Like in October, I was like, man, we'll be lucky if we hit 88. And now I can fully admit I was wrong. I was completely wrong. And I think it's baked in, man. I think 100K before the end of the year is happening, and then you'll probably see. I don't know, like I remember previous bull markets around Christmas time, you'll see some people taking some chips off the table. So there's probably going to be a pullback again. Like I think it's going to bounce a couple times off of it before it continues doing anything else. That'd be my guess, my best guess. But like, people got to pay for, Christmas gifts, or you might have some, I don't know, trader bros kind of like, taking money off the table before the, fiscal year end, and then deciding what they're redeploying in the new year. So I think we'll just have to kind of see what happens over the next, say, 3 to 4 weeks.
I mean, yeah, presumably smart traders and funds and stuff are going to start doing tax harvesting, right? We've had quite a run up in the past month, less than a month. So maybe some of this is that taking profits, making sure that they have stuff locked in for tax purposes.
Yeah, the latest MicroStrategy purchase was actually before, somewhere back here, right? Earlier in the previous week. And then when it was I think people thought that MicroStrategy was going to be buying another whatever it is $1 billion worth of Bitcoin, but then it turned out that they had already bought it. And so when that news came out, that's sort of corresponded with this dip. So that could be another factor at play there.
The question I have is, I was asking you earlier, Graham, is it better for Bitcoin not to make an all-time high this year? Because if it doesn't, I imagine Bitcoin ranges or consolidates till next year, and that would give room for altcoins to run for the next month, which I personally think would be awesome. And a nice 4 weeks of maniacal craziness when people have time off, they're with family, they have a lot of free time, buying memes, buying alts. That would be great.
I've seen this in the past as well. I mean, I've done this myself. Christmas, after day 1 of Christmas, day 2 of Christmas, a lot of people get kind of sick of their family, kind of bored of the same stories they've heard every year, consistently. And then it's like, all right, the small talk's done. We ate dinner. Time to open up the phone. And then you get into it, right? You start digging into some stuff. Or you might be at the dinner table and you're saying, hey, Dad, you're sitting on a lot of fiat. Why are you just not putting some of that into crypto? You got some of these, now you got boomer TradFi investors telling, normies that, hey, 2 to 5% of their net worth in crypto, not retarded. What are you doing, Dad? And then you get into the debates. Is Bitcoin a Ponzi? Is Bitcoin a scam? Is Ethereum a scam? Trying to explain what this whole crypto space is like. And then you kind of go on your own, you're trying to escape the family and the kids and the chaos, and you're reading more and more and more. And then maybe you start buying, maybe you start taking the bets, and because you got time, right? You're filled up with eggnog and turkey. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah. Actually, maybe this is a good time to talk about how one might approach that conversation as the family crypto nerd, especially because apparently it's Thanksgiving in the United States. Is that today?
Still, yeah, it's Thanksgiving evening, so everyone's probably completely stuffed on turkey.
Right.
Does anyone know why Canada celebrates our Thanksgiving earlier?
Because it's colder.
We just is that the reason? We just decided it was like, hey, you know what?
Well, to me, Thanksgiving is related to harvest, right?
Yeah.
And things have long since been harvested in Canada. It's a desolate wasteland by this time of year already.
Are people still harvesting in the U.S. in late November?
Yeah, that's just my pea brain.
No, because I totally agree. When I picture the Thanksgiving thing, it's like a cornucopia of corn and legumes and pumpkins and stuff like that. There's no friggin' corn on the fields left in November.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's start off with a little segment here. Since it is Thanksgiving, in honor of the American Thanksgiving, what are we thankful for? Of course, in the crypto space, what are we thankful for? David, you want to start off?
Yeah, I mean, this is the most obvious one, I think, so I'll go first. But I am actually quite thankful that Trump got elected, and he got elected in the manner that he did, a resounding, unequivocal rejection of what the Dems were doing. And I think you're already starting to see some of what the Biden administration, what they've done for the past 4 years come out, and it's worse than we thought, right? So I'm very thankful that Trump's there, and I'm hopeful that a lot of the terrible things that have been kind of done under the Biden admin can be unwound during this administration. I don't know if it's going to happen, but man, I hope so. So that's what I'm very thankful for.
Nice. On top of that, I think there's the Fair Shake PAC, the Political Action Committee. This is a strange thing to be thankful for, but these guys came out with what is it, $100 million of funds, and they deployed it ridiculously efficiently. Supposedly getting all 48 out of 48 candidates that they had backed elected, and Yeah, thanks to that, it looks like we're going to get some really positive legislation coming out of the US over the next few years. So definitely thankful for that. What do you got, Corbin?
Yeah, I think low hanging fruit. I'm thankful for the team at Bitcoin.com. You guys have all been grinding this year, putting up with my craziness. I like the fact that I can be real with a lot of you and kind of get into the weeds with all of you guys. So I'm very appreciative over the fact that you guys listen to my tirades and respond quick and try to fix this stuff. We're trying to grow everything. And I think we got huge opportunities here at Bitcoin.com. So I want to thank all of you guys and the crew here, working on the podcast and on the creation of video and stuff like that. Yeah, in just a year, we've really grown this thing quite a bit.
The devs, got to be thankful for the devs because
devs too. Always the devs.
they
are always doing
seem
something.
To, know how computers work, know how things happen. As opposed to us monkeys over here, just
that's right,
batting on the keyboards. Oh, look at my face! Here I am.
Yeah. I think a lot of it's just appreciation for the team and just the grind. It's being in crypto day in day out. It for those just kind of looking in, it's a fun hobby. Hey, I'm into crypto, but when you live it day in day out, it's a grind, and you do it months and months and years, and it's bull or bear. It can wear on you, and it's fun. It's extremely fun. We're all, I think, very appreciative of it, but yeah, it takes its toll, and I think having a good team and a good community within that team to kind of push each other and push ourselves. I think that's kind of something I'm incredibly thankful for. Maybe the other thing I'm thankful for is truth. It does seem like we're in an upswing in terms of truth, and I think you kind of see this with just the online debates and the political debates and kind of this a whipsaw of things just kind of moving. The Overton window shifted from extreme, I don't know what you'd call the last 4 years. A little bit wokey, a little bit they're trying to force the oppression Olympics still, trying to make everyone feel guilty and terrible for who they are. And now it seems like everyone's just back to hey, it's just back to normal, guys. Let's just make everything great again. It's not just America. I think you've got tech entrepreneurs now speaking out against all of the chaos in the world, from the choke point 2.0s. There was this Mark Andreessen was recently on Joe Rogan talking about this and shining a huge spotlight on just some of the crummy things that the bureaucratic class and the government have been kind of doing towards founders and tech people. You've got our own Roger Ver, Bitcoin Jesus. He's facing 109 years in prison for daring to challenge the financial system, and the allegations are pretty trumped up. You've got mail fraud in there, you got tax evasion and filing false tax returns. So they're saying, I don't know if you guys read the docket on this thing, but they're saying he did mail fraud because he submitted his taxes using the mail system. That's this is what he's up against, right? So it's Operation Choke Point 2.0 in action, and you've got this shadowy campaign that's out there to silence the builders, the innovators like Roger, who stand for Bitcoin and crypto and decentralization and freedom and all that stuff. So, we saw, just I think this shining light on truth is coming out, and people are talking about it, and they're aware of it, and it seems like things are being pulled back into the common parlance of truth. We're back,
Mark Andreessen's appearance on the Joe Rogan Experience is getting a lot of attention. Let's talk about that for a minute, because he noted that I think 30 of his portfolio companies who are in the crypto space, basically everybody just got debanked over the last 4 years, or could not get banking connections. This is what you're talking about with Operation Choke Point 2.0.
Yeah. And it's also even worse than that, because either the founders themselves got debanked, or their companies, or both.
Right. Exactly. So
personal
not just the
attacks,
company,
right?
but the personal attack.
Insane.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane.
And there was this one guy from Frax Protocol, which I recall from being a key player in the last cycle. His quote was, so he's on the phone with a rep from JP Morgan who is explaining why he's being debanked and a year ago, and he's come out now, like, because he feels comfortable coming out now and saying this publicly. But basically, the rep on the phone was like, we have to close anyone's account that we know their primary source of income / wealth is crypto. This is directly from the top from Jamie. I'm really sorry. And that was it for his bank account. And it seems like that's happened to a lot of people. And it's now going to end. Hopefully, not guaranteed, but it looks like it's that those days are behind us.
Yeah, like, I mean, this is largely, I'd say, up to whether this DOGE, group with Elon and Vivek, and if they can clean up the bureaucratic BS in the system, then maybe things can return to normal, and US can focus more on like being a innovator in the crypto space instead of this like digging its heels in with Elizabeth Warren and her silly, anti-crypto goons. I think like the case against Roger is like they had a whale in their sights. They went after this guy. They were hunting him down forever, right? And now they're trying to lock up a guy who helped helped launch the Bitcoin revolution. So like, yeah, I think it's important for all of us to just, realize that is tied to this. And, let's hope that whether it's Biden maybe on his way out or whether it's Trump on his way in, maybe they can, do a solid and prove that they can clean up some of the mess that they maybe helped enable.
Amen. All right. I think let's go ahead.
Can we return back to just like what's going to happen during the holidays, which is, it's been a while for me, but I'm going to go back home in December, and all of my relatives are going to start asking me about crypto, right?
Yep.
Chiefly, the classic one is, what should I buy?
Yeah.
Right. Like, and did you have that recently when your family or family members came over here? Did they ask you or inquire about that at all?
We talked about crypto a bit, but actually, interestingly, no one asked for advice.
Really?
It was just, maybe it's because I've already burned that bridge.
Yeah. If you've been in the space long enough, you probably told people what to buy before, and then it didn't do what you... Yeah, they got burned, and then you're the asshole, right? You're like, why did you tell me to buy this thing? It's down 30%. It's like, man, I don't know what to tell you.
For people listening, though, for people listening, what would your advice be now, though, right? Like, what would you say? So I'm trying to, in my own mind, what I'm going to say to my friends and family when I go back, because I guarantee you, with Trump coming in and all this pro-crypto news kind of circulating, Andreessen in the mix, I'm going to get these questions, and I haven't quite figured out exactly what I'm going to say.
Yeah, well, go ahead, Corbin.
Well, the mature thing is to just not say anything, right? It's to do the old, I don't make recommendations because I can't control your money. And you know what? Like, the way I watch my money, I care about it more because it's my money. Your money, frankly, I don't care about. Like, so it's up to you to care about it. And if you're not watching the charts and living in this stuff, it's pretty volatile.
That's what I said.
That being said,
well, I haven't burned any bridges because that's what I said the past two cycles. Anytime anyone asked me the past two cycles during Christmas times, in like 17 and then in 21, I was like, if you've got, I'm a family member. I'm not going to give you any financial advice.
Yeah. Well, if you've got like a degenerate cousin or like uncle that's like, a raging alcoholic, and you can tell this guy plays the slots. I mean, like, they know, as long as you tell them, hey, look, man, this could go to zero. If you want the risk on bets, sure, we got some, there's some stuff you could buy. It's just, are you willing to play? Are you going to watch it? Are you going to sell it when it rips? Or if it doesn't rip, are you going to cry about it? Don't come to me if it doesn't do the thing that I think it might do, but like, good luck.
Yeah. I'm trying to debate whether I think I would modify what I've done in the past, which is kind of not answer the question and say maybe yeah, go ahead and get a little Bitcoin. I mean, the boring answer maybe.
Yeah, well, so that's I think an angle to come at it here, right? Because obviously the best time to buy Bitcoin was a long time ago, right? Even 6 months ago was a much better time. But like, you could argue that there's still a lot of upside in this cycle. Like, for example, we seem to be having some of the game theory play out here with the talk of the Bitcoin reserve. So like, just in the strategic reserves, right? Like this week we had Brazil introducing a bill to establish a strategic Bitcoin reserve. I've got some details about this here. Just a sec. It's basically the bill's justification highlights the global precedent for integrating cryptocurrencies into national strategies. So this is the game theory, and the bill would enable the government to allocate up to 5% of the country's international reserves to Bitcoin. And there's even talk of it being used as collateral for Brazil's like CBDC, which is in the pipeline. So, you know, if these countries actually are doing this, like, I don't have much hope for the US doing anything serious about the Bitcoin strategic reserve, but it seems like the game theory is playing out with other countries. Now, if that happens, like, there's a lot more upside in Bitcoin. So like 100K is cheap in that world, right? We're 10x from the market of cap of gold, which is seems within sights now.
Do you think a gold bust is, or sorry, not a gold bust, but breaking through the gold barrier, is that on the table this cycle?
I would say without some event like this, no, it's not going to happen.
But yeah, like a strategic reserve.
Yeah. Without some like kind of exogenous event like institutions and governments stepping in to put it on in a reserve or balance sheet, I don't see that happening. But if it does, the second the U.S. even kind of hints at this, and then you do have this kind of game theory play out where the U.S. would announce this, or most likely it would get leaked out to other government officials in other countries. They would want to front run the U.S., right? Like that has to be the case. And not only would governments want to front run the U.S., major institutions would want to front run the U.S. The U.S. would be the big, dumb, slow money.
Yeah, and we've talked about this before on the pod, but we've got the Dennis Porter of the Satoshi Action Committee talking about like this secret nation state, and he's in the news again. His quote is, "One nation state is moving very fast. They want to beat the others to a strategic Bitcoin reserve." So, yeah, I mean,
I think the U.S. doesn't even have to buy Bitcoin to kick this off. So, for example, if the Trump admin simply took the Bitcoin that it's already confiscated, right? It's like 100,000 Bitcoin or something like that.
Yeah.
If it simply took that and said, okay, this is the start of our strategic reserve. We're not selling this anymore. This is our reserve. I think that would be enough in of itself, because that would show the direction of where the U.S. government is going. And I think that would cause the dominoes to fall for other countries to really take it seriously and then start acquiring their own. So again, I think it's not as fantastical as a lot of people have stated, because the U.S. government doesn't even have to spend a dime.
Yeah, and so going back to our question here of what advice should you give your family members over the holidays, whether it's like right now, the Thanksgiving or Christmas coming up. Yeah, it seems like in good conscience you could say, yeah, throw a little money into the Bitcoin.
Yeah, I think I'm going to say that, but with the caveat of like, look, you do this and you do not touch it for 5 years, right?
Yeah,
and if you can't make that commitment, then I don't have any advice for you. Because it could go down to 70,000, and then I'm getting messages,
yeah.
But yeah, over a longer time horizon, this seems inevitable. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But here's the other thing, though, is the thing that's is also gonna is different this cycle compared to even the other ones is the preeminence or the market share dominance of meme coins. I know I'm gonna get questions about, so David, Pepe or Dick Butt coin? What do you think? And
the choice is obvious.
So yeah, I think I'm just gonna say, if I were to say anything, I would be like, stay clear of all that. I mean, personally.
Yeah, well,
as advice.
Sure, but you could. I think it's fair enough to just be like, yeah, throw. It's a fun casino.
Yeah,
throw some money in that.
$50 into it, I guess.
Like I don't have any great tips for you other than Fartcoin. But
obviously.
Yeah.
What am I in right now? What
I was actually just going to say that, like, I at some point I'm going to have to explain to my parents I made a good bag off of farts, and they're going to be like, "Huh?" And then I got to explain, like, it's an AI meta play. It was
I got a funny story for you guys, because actually, speaking of that, like the embarrassment of that. So I'm trying to get a bank loan, right, for a property. And they wanted to see my assets. Okay?
Unbank this guy.
So they wanted a printout of my like a crypto portfolio, and right there, like in the list, was the Fartcoin, and uncomfortable questions were asked. So yeah,
it was like last cycle. Was it a year ago? People during tax season talking about how their accountants were like, we got the list of coins, meme coins, which I can't even say on air. But yeah, racial pejoratives, and the accountants were, unironically like, I can't be your accountant anymore. So like, I'm sorry, go somewhere else.
Yeah,
I can't do this. Yeah.
All right. So let's move on to the question of, I think, the ETH. So on last week's show, we had a special recording.
Wait, sorry,
Dave. No, yeah, go ahead.
So sorry. I just recalled this. So our producer, I'm going to out a little bit of a thing, has a meme coin that's doing well. The question was whether they should sell or not. And I think memes are going to still perform well. And so I was like, you should probably hold on to it.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that was good advice or not. Yeah. Doge
has done well.
That's the coin.
Yeah, I can't see Doge like I can't see Doge shitting the bed completely.
Right? Well, especially with like Elon's Doge. Yeah, I mean, it's like, going to be and we're at the start of the cycle anyway. So I shout out to the producer, but I was like, maybe sell a little bit, but it's probably worth holding on to.
Yeah. I mean, take your chips off. Take just get it to the point where you're playing with house money. I think that's always good advice. And then right, like take your
initial.
I mean, like,
out and
you can never really go wrong with diamond handsing meme coins. That's never been a problem with cycles. Nobody's ever lost money on Doge.
No, I've lost money on Doge every time I bought Doge. Every single time I bought Doge, I've lost money.
I've never made a single gain on Doge, you guys. It's impossible.
I'm the worst meme coin investor of all time.
Okay, and speaking of bad investments, let's talk about ETH. So last week on the show, we had a special recording from you. Thank you for that, where you capitulated, and it seemed that did mark the bottom.
It was the goddamn bottom, man.
So, ETH
thank you for your sacrifice, David.
Yeah.
The funniest thing is, I got in a Telegram. I got a message the day after I sold.
Yeah.
I hadn't told anyone, and Corbin was like, "LOL, which one of you capitulated more?" And I didn't reply because I was already gonna say the same. But I was thinking to myself, like, "Oh god damn it, that was me. It was me."
It always takes one sacrifice, right? Like someone's got to bite the bullet, and then it does stuff. And this is kind of par for the course for every crypto. You're in a group saying like, "Hey guys, I think this one's gonna make it," and then someone sells, and then it rips, and you're like, "All right, man, thank you for your service, you dumb."
Yeah, and the inflows into the ETH ETF seem to be doing quite well as well.
Did you share that? Did you share that chart that I had last week about the inflows?
I can't remember.
It looks like it was from the Bloomberg analyst Eric. Can't remember his last name. Bacchus. It looks like a ladle. So green inflows the first couple days that the ETH ETF was announced, and then just all red for the past 2 or 3 months, 4 months, and then starting to be green again. And so you get it's net inflows, right?
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So you get this like ladle thing. It was in the last week's stock. So that it's a pretty compelling chart, just that you get this classic going up and then down, and then now you're at the top, and so you might have cleared that.
Yeah. TradFi does seem to be allocating to ETH. I mean, that's what the ETH ETF inflows are telling us, I guess.
Yes. And it makes sense because
it's a crypto beta. You have an allocation to Bitcoin and you want something a little bit that gives you some leverage or like more than the standard.
Yeah.
And that would be the next.
But also the institutions, they allocated for Bitcoin at the beginning of the year, and they weren't going to like add additional allocations after the Bitcoin ETF like passed.
Yeah.
But now they have a reason, right? Like front running Trump presidency, and then front running the money that they'll have to allocate into crypto next year.
Yeah.
So presumably even next year it should, I would say, pick up because they'll have new money to put into crypto. And my guess is that they'll put most of it into Bitcoin, but then they now have another play, which is ETH, and that should be helpful as well.
Yeah, like I don't live in the TradFi world, but I just picture there being like a boardroom of bean counters, and they're all kind of like, all right, guys, what do we got the budget allocation for the 2025 fiscal year for Ethereum ETFs? And I think this is probably like the conversations that are happening throughout November, December, and then they deploy.
I imagine it's kind of like that. Maybe the voice will be less nasal, but yeah, absolutely.
Always nasal, guys. Come on.
Yeah. All right.
We're getting a comment, Kelso on YouTube. He's saying CZ's apparently talking about delisting meme coins, or at least no longer bringing them on. So that's maybe one more, I don't know, bear take for your degenerate uncle come Christmas time.
I think that's in response. Like CZ had a couple of news. Like he had like some reprimanding tweets this week about pump.fun memes. So this probably is connected to that, right? Like he was pretty like, hey, what are you guys doing? He's like, I like memes, but what the hell?
All right, let's talk about the pump.fun memes because things have gotten crazy here.
Well, they got crazy. They got crazy. They cooled down a little bit. But
the party's over a bit with the pump.fun live stream situation. David, you were telling me that you were watching this play out in real time.
Yeah.
I'm just scrolling through a list here of some of the coins.
So like it started off not great, right? Like so for those who don't know about pump.fun, everyone pretty much knows, but the thing that really that has captured the attention of, I would say, people who are not really in crypto is this live streaming feature, right? So you get to create a coin, which is not necessarily that new, but it's easy to create a coin, but they've paired it with this live streaming feature, right? And so you're basically getting kind of a more immediate and direct way to convert attention into money, right?
Yeah.
And this past week, it kind of like reached a crescendo where everybody was trying to outdo each other in the craziness to capture attention, which would then translate into an increase in the market cap of the token, which then they would rug, of course.
So let's just go through some of these real quickly. So last week we talked about Quant, where we had the Gen Z kid.
2 weeks ago. I mean, the Quant is from 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
We talked about that on last week's show, where the Gen Z kid rugged people like on the live stream.
And this is probably this is probably like the little snowball that got everything rolling, right?
I think so.
It's kind of depraved.
Yeah.
And it got a lot of attention.
I love my job. I just love my job so much. It's just so funny.
Okay, so right now we've got Nazi up on the screen. It's a young man with a big mustache launched a token and streamed himself burning Israel's flag while giving a Nazi salute.
While revealing his face. I mean, these kids are just insane.
Torture token. The developer promised to torture and expose his girlfriend as the market cap increased.
This is a weird one.
DOGECAGE.
So DOGECAGE is really the thing that kind of like, I would say, ramped it up this week.
Yeah,
that was all over crypto Twitter for a day or so.
Yeah,
and then within like 6 hours, things got crazy enough from that DOGECAGE thing to for pump.fun.
Guys, I shouldn't be laughing at this because people are so depraved, and everyone will do anything for like if you're poor, you're gonna do some stupid shit. You know, like this is the same reason why people do B&Es, because they're poor. They're poor and they're doing stupid shit, or they're like addicted to meth and they're doing stupid shit. And now you've given babies a gun, and it's like the gun is the ability to create a shit coin, launch it, and do a live stream, and kind of hold it and your users captive as a to kind of say like, look, if you don't pump this thing, I'm going to do something bad on the live stream. It's terrible.
Yeah, or the opposite.
Entertaining. Yeah.
Or the opposite, where this guy, every $1 million that his token went up, he shot a gun out the window.
There was also a lot of like animal violence. Like there was the guy who had a goldfish with a gun that he was pointing at. He's like, I'm going to shoot this goldfish unless it goes up. There was a guy who's like, I'm going to kill this chicken. And then I think he subsequently shot and killed the chicken. So yeah, I mean, I
got some chickens living outside, so I'm for that. They're friggin' loud. I like, you know what? As long as he's eating that, you know, not torturing the chicken.
Here's the thing that I thought was crazy though is, oh God.
What a specimen! What a specimen!
Good Lord! Oh, is this the guy who said he has no anus? Did you see that?
I saw the anus one. That's here somewhere.
But
so yeah,
I have to say, this made me feel a little dark about crypto a little bit. Again, this is me being my wet blanket self, but like having unbridled financialization,
Dev has no anus,
paired with attention, just creates like desperate, depraved, downward spiraling.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
We've seen it happen here.
But doesn't it make you feel?
Well, what's interesting too about this is that it's like this already happened on the other streaming platforms like YouTube or TikTok or whatever. Facebook, exactly. People started when the live stream features came out. There was the guy who live streamed killing a bunch of people in a mosque in New Zealand, right? But there were a lot of things like that.
But even before that, I remember there was competing live streams to show beheadings and terrorist video footage from the Middle East. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And Facebook kept taking them down, but they kept getting more views. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
And when you attach this monetary element to it, it seems to
Well, so the Facebook thing had a monetary element because I think they could get money from people looking at it, but this is way more direct.
Exactly.
And it means that it's like people are even quicker and faster to be depraved.
And so this whole thing played out in like a week or two.
No, it went from that guy in the cage to being shut down in like 6 hours. Seriously.
Exactly.
I mean, it was super fast.
Really fast.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I don't know if this is true, but I heard that the founder of pump.fun basically fled the country. That might be
might not be a bad idea.
Yeah.
Like the shock factor of like silly stuff like this and crazy stuff like this. That's existed on the internet even before internet. It was like passed around VHS tapes and stuff like that, and it was like nasty gore or nasty whatever. And then now it's like, you had like beheadings. And I remember being like, I don't know, like 12 watching like ISIS cut off heads, and it was terrible stuff on the internet. And I was being monetized as a viewer, right? They were ads. There was banners on newgrounds.com or whatever whatever those like gore websites were. They had banners. There was profiteering off of it. I agree that this is maybe more direct and more gross, but it's all gross. People are gross, but I think they're only as gross as like the audience they can capture, and we're currently giving them that. So I'm sure they're very happy.
But doesn't this make you feel like, at least for me, it made me feel like, oh, well, the freedoms that crypto enables and like the cleanness, the directness of associating attention to money, most humans can't handle.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's
I'm kind of a relativist when it comes to this stuff. Like I mean, if you don't like it, don't buy it. Don't go to the site. Don't participate in it. Go away. Go buy Bitcoin. Go buy something else. You don't have to be a part of the meme coin culture to be a part of crypto. It's a part of stuff, but like it's the same thing as like US dollars are used for torture, for gore, for all sorts of terrible, nasty stuff on the internet. I don't feel bad about using the US dollar. I don't feel bad about like using a tool. A hammer is great for hammering nails. It's great for pulling nails out of walls. It can also be a torture device. That doesn't make me say I don't like hammers. This is just like I'm a very utilitarian when it comes to this stuff. It's like there's nasty stuff. You shouldn't support that nasty stuff, unless you're a nasty person. But like you can't fault the underlying tech of this thing. It's more of just like people using the tech in stupid ways.
Yeah, I'm not faulting the tech at all. What I'm faulting is human nature. That's what I'm faulting.
Humans are stupid, but like
it seems like, again, the dark thing that it made me feel is just that, oh, we can't have pure unbridled freedom because within 6 hours this kind of crap happens.
Yeah.
I mean, and what if they didn't turn off live streaming? Where would it have gone in a day, in a week?
Yeah.
Right? Like, where would it have gone? Where would it have gone?
Yeah. It is fascinating. All right. Well, okay. We started off clean and pure, as we always do, talking about Bitcoin, and then we ended up talking about the degeneracy of the meme coin meta and pump.fun.
There is something to be said about like all of this chaos. If you don't want to participate in it, like Bitcoin is kind of boring now compared to so much other stuff. And if you just aren't looking, like you're cool with the idea of crypto and volatility and potentially making money, you don't have to participate in the chaos of memes and altcoins and ICOs and all of this other stuff. So while we might talk about it because it's like interesting and in the news and it's topical, being boring is fine. Just being Bitcoin is fine. It's okay to buy Bitcoin. It's okay to just hold one asset. It's okay to just hold a couple blue chips. You don't have to go down degeneracy. I find degeneracy humorous, so I like to, see what's going on, stay up to date on it. But like, you don't have to. If this stuff makes anyone uncomfortable, like, you can just hang out with Orange Coin. It's pretty boring and safe, compared to some of this chaos.
Speaking of which, we're going to be going. The three of us will be at Bitcoin MENA, right?
Yeah.
In Abu Dhabi. In about what?
A week? Yeah.
In a week. Are you expecting it to be kind of wholesome? And I expect it to be like jubilant. I think everyone's going to be high-fiving each other and dancing a jig.
Yeah, that's my hope.
Probably fairly wholesome, right? It'll be Bitcoin.
Yeah. Abu Dhabi is a pretty conservative city relative to like Dubai. It's not like you're going to see debauchery, I think, to the level that you would in something like Token 2049, in Singapore and stuff like that. I think
that was wild.
I think it's going to be a little bit more, straight-laced kind of fashion. But yeah, I think it'll be a great opportunity to kind of like catch up with the Bitcoin crowd and get their take on it. I think, the chances of you getting into a long-form discussion about pump.fun and meme coin meta probably unlikely at this event, but you probably could get into some debates regarding, like, I don't know, monotheism, mono coining, as a Bitcoin only maximalist versus
my guess is
that's probably the debate.
My guess is the way that I've talked like disparagingly about pump.fun now, I'll be at MENA and people will be talking to me about Ethereum like that. Right? Like just with complete disgust and disdain. Like, oh, I can't believe this thing.
Well, I think there's also some jealousy, from a lot of these blue chip coins. Because, like, surely there's going to be some people at involved in Bitcoin that are like, I don't like it, not because of what it is, but because it's not on Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Okay. There's one other topic I had on the docket this week, which was the ruling that came out about Tornado Cash.
Awesome.
So, yeah,
So awesome.
this is quite interesting. Let me see if I can get the details here. Yeah. So basically, sorry. What happened was, okay, so of course, just for background, for people who don't know, Tornado Cash is a coin mixing service that the US government basically put on the sanctions list because they're saying that it facilitated like terrorist financing, especially the financing of the North Korea, right?
The whole point of a mixing service, though, is to obfuscate where you got your funds.
Yes.
Right?
Okay, thank you for that clarification. And therefore it enabled bad actors to launder money.
Yes.
And so the OFAC, which is I can never remember what that is. It's a financial authority in the United States that deals with this type of sanctions thing. So they sanctioned Tornado Cash, and they said nobody can deal with this now. When OFAC says something like that, everybody listens, because if you are found to violate OFAC's directive, it's straight to jail for you. Like it's bad.
Or if you're an institution, it means you lose access to the dollar system, right?
Yeah. So nobody will touch anything that OFAC has put on its blacklist. And so this went to court, though, because OFAC can only sanction, according to the law, property. And it turns out that a collection of smart contracts that just lives on a blockchain, on a public blockchain, doesn't meet that definition.
Yeah, because it's not owned by anyone. Right?
Exactly.
So property has to be owned by someone or some entity.
Exactly. So the U.S. Circuit Judge Don Willett, in the comment on the case, said the federal law only gave OFAC the authority to regulate property, which Tornado Cash's immutable crypto mixing smart contracts did not constitute. So I think it's a pretty huge win. We had Paul Grewal, the chief legal officer at Coinbase, said on X that it's a historic win for all of for crypto and for all who care about defending liberty. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I love Tornado Cash. I love these kinds of mixing services personally. It's also interesting that it's not just used by bad actors. Vitalik famously has used Tornado Cash, or some of the others.
Yeah,
I mean, so it's
public blockchains are kind of broken. You don't want to, if I'm sending money to someone or like paying for anything, I don't want them to see the shame, my wallet of shame.
Or if you're like Vitalik,
all the dumb things I've purchased. Or
you don't want to see that he has you don't want to see that he has like $30 million in his
or you don't want to see him dumping ETH, right?
Exactly.
So,
but no, like I used Tornado when the GUI was still up. It was great. It was a great way to just kind of break the chain of public blockchain, and just you don't have to commingle different wallets and kind of risk doxing other wallets. It's great, especially if you're dealing with like cold storage and stuff like that. So I mean, like, these tools aren't just used by North Korean hackers and stuff like that. They're actually used by normal people. They're used by journalists and politically persecuted individuals. So it's sort of like, I think that this is a good step in the right direction, where perhaps you get a little bit more honest debate about what is this. And I think the OG discussion, like this is like a year or two ago, was just this code is law thing. David, you probably remember a little bit about this. And then it's like, there's a lot of devs that were like, nah, code is law. Like, I don't really need to like worry about anything if it's all on chain and stuff like that. And then you got like Mango Markets guys being like, oh yeah, you're in jail now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a really complex, really interesting like set of things, because you get like code is law, but then you have like these quasi backdoor like ways of modifying the code, right? Like, so, or multi-sigs to kind of just do whatever you want with the code. So I mean, yeah. And then from a legal perspective, I think it is a fairly big step in the right direction, which is the legal system having to come to grips with this completely new thing from a legal standpoint, right? Like, it's not property, right? It doesn't fit in that bucket. So what is it, and how are they going to qualify it? So to me, this has a lot of implications far wider than just this ruling, where legal bodies are going to have to start looking at smart contracts and a lot of this blockchain technology, kind of maybe from first principles, or I don't know. They'll probably have to analogize it to something, but it clearly isn't property. So I'm hopeful that you'll start to see this the logic from this ruling being used by other legal entities.
Yeah. All right, guys. That's everything on the docket. Does anyone else have any last attempts at reviving our keeping our conversation going here, or should we wrap it up?
Trying to think. I thought I had one more thing I wanted to talk about. Can't recall.
I think maybe while you pull that up, I can mention for those of you guys who are listening, we have a pretty cool campaign going on right now inside the Bitcoin.com wallet. If you go into the earn section, you can earn Bitcoin inside the Bitcoin.com wallet app. So this is kind of a cool thing that we've done with the Threshold Network. So Threshold Network has this thing called TBTC. It is a self-custodied version of like WBTC. If you've ever used like WBTC Cafe, or if you ever used RenBTC, these were like somewhat more decentralized versions of wrapped Bitcoin that allowed you to mint your BTC L1 into a layer 2 or an ETH version of Bitcoin. And they're held in these like multi-party threshold, multi-sig type wallets. So they're as decentralized as they possibly can to take this like L1 asset into an L2 or into an ETH version of it. And yeah, you can start using Bitcoin on Ethereum, or you can start using Bitcoin on Polygon. And in the future, this stuff is going to be available on more and more chains. So currently, yeah, if you go inside the Bitcoin.com wallet app, play around with our wallet, you can actually earn some Verse, which is our rewards token. And with that rewards token, you can actually stake it. And then by staking it, you're actually earning TBTC. So you're earning Bitcoin. Now, from that Bitcoin that you earn, you can unwrap it, go back to layer 1 at any time, or you can just keep it on Polygon, or keep it on Ethereum, or wherever you're earning it. And yeah, it's a great opportunity for people to just stack more sats. Great opportunity for you to kind of play around with more of the Bitcoin.com wallet and ecosystem, and have a little fun. So.
Yeah, and you're earning Bitcoin at 70% APY right now, so it's nothing to shake a stick at.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. We're gonna try to keep this thing going as long as we possibly can. So yeah, go grab the wallet, take it for a rip.
Nice. What do you got, David?
Well, this is a longer thing that maybe I'll say for next week, but I'll just give you a little preview. I don't know if you've noticed this in the past week or two, but I personally love looking at critics of crypto, right? Like I really like hearing their takes. And two of the kind of the smartest, most intelligent crypto critics that have really been hitting crypto hard for years, I've noticed them in the past 2 weeks kind of come out and say that they with Trump winning and with the changes that are coming, that most of their criticisms are no longer valid.
You talking about Jim Cramer?
No, I'm not.
Because he's one.
I don't qualify him as a
okay.
particularly articulate. And
who are we talking about?
So again, they're probably not well known, but there's a famous lawyer. I think he worked for the SEC for years. Named I think is John Stark Reed.
Okay.
I followed him for years. He has been incredibly critical of crypto for years, and he'll put out like 2,000 word legalistic takes on why crypto is bad and why various things are going to happen to it. And he's come out and now
changing his tune.
Well, no, it's not so much he's changing his tune. He's updating his opinion based on where the country's going. So anyway, I'll talk about this more, and we can link to it later. But it's pretty cool to see. The other is Crypto Critic Corner podcast with they're pretty well known, maybe the most well known critic of crypto podcast. And they recently had a podcast on why Tether is now in the clear. And they have been like Tether truthers for as long as I've known.
On the note of Tether, so can someone explain this? Tether basically managed to get someone in the government, right?
Yeah. So the Commerce Secretary. His company. Nantoka Fitzgerald, or whatever it is, something Fitzgerald.
Custodying.
They're custodying
treasuries.
They're the ones who are handling the bulk of Tether's treasuries. So this guy he runs. He's a CEO, and I think he has some ownership of that company.
And he's going to be the commerce.
He's the Commerce Secretary.
All right.
And so Tether is, and it's clear now. Anyway, so there's a lot of interesting things like that, and again, hopeful stuff. But also, like, kudos to these critics who
updating
who've come out and publicly said, "Yep, no, that's no longer the case." Boom.
Yeah, that's extremely bullish. Going back to our what to tell your family. Is it safe to invest in Bitcoin even at this all-time high levels? With the critics coming around. It's
like legit critics, not like Jim Cramer, like it's a bear. I mean, it's not a compelling argument, right?
Yeah.
So,
all right, nice. That's it. I think that's a good spot to end the podcast.
The episode.
All right,
you start saying "ep." Good ep, boys.
Good.
We don't have enough time in the day for all these long words, David. We got to shorten them, okay?
Oh God.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining and for your fantastic insights as always on the pod. And thanks for everyone for listening. We'll see you next week on Token Narratives. Adios.